it it's like it doesn't matter what the 3D world, if you will, is giving you, trying to tell you, trying to convince you. It doesn't matter what the failures are. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. It doesn't matter who's following, who's not. You know, it does not matter. It's about this gift that I've been given and the choice that I've made, that I'm going to operate in it, and almost like having no choice. Like, it's so powerful. It's bigger than you.
Going through some things. You was always very necessary. Worth the salt and pepper, Fat Joe, you represent me.
Or being from Uganda, growing up in Harlem, how has it at any point in your creative process influenced you, your music, your writing? How?
Oh yeah, Uganda's a very musical place, very, very musical. And it's been lovely to find that there's actually a deep hip-hop community in Uganda as well. There really is everywhere, to be real. It's actually amazing. So many places in the world where you wouldn't even think of. Uzbekistan, like Greece, it's everywhere. But Uganda has, like, people are still dancing, like teaching break dancing and b-boying and b-girling in the streets, like young people. So it's amazing. There's a lot of instrumentalists in Uganda, and of course African dance is very widely known now, but I wasn't even exposed to, because Uganda is like in the east central part. There's a certain type of dance from the eastern central part, and different tribal breakdowns have their own traditional dances, and I didn't even know that until I started getting deeper into like looking at my family, because most of the African dance we see is actually West African. So with all that said, me discovering more of how inherently creative we are as a people, and then once you start digging into the different regions, the different clans and tribes and families and legacies, you start to get even more nuanced about the things, and you start to find the roots of even the popular dances we have today in our indigenous cultures and dances. So that's been a big inspiration. My mother exposed me to an artist named Yonda Sister when I was younger, and I'm not sure, I feel like she's from a northern country, but she was like a prolific trailblazing artist, not just as a woman, but and not just as an African artist, but just as an artist. And to me, it's like her, Fela Kuti, people like this, Miriam Makeba. I look to those people as well as major muses and inspirations for me, because they were just so courageous and unafraid, and never were separated from their African and indigenous identity, but somehow managed to be kind of borderless as far as what they decided their creative stroke was going to be. Kind of the same way I was talking about Beyonce. Like, they decided they were going to be a certain type of artist and be unafraid in that lane and create the lane if it wasn't there already. And then most of those names, really all of them, achieved global influence and affluence doing that. So that's really inspiring.
I like that. I was watching a past interview of yours, and you were talking about fear and how you didn't have any when you were younger. And I think you were actually talking about, it was a story about the TV and the spinning chair, where you lifted the TV out the chair.
So, man, did your research?
Yes, something like that. As a young person, I think it's a seed that's there, and it grows throughout your life, right?
Absolutely.
How do those moments, does that reflect in your music? Does it reflect in your day-to-day as far as the activities that you get into to take your mind off of? Sometimes we have to check out as far as life.
Yeah, great question. That moment with the chair, yeah, I lifted a computer, like an old 80s computer, off a desk and off the chair and onto the floor because I wanted to play in the spinning chair and it was in my way. And it was just a minute example of like, there is no, or the obstacle is perception. It's only a challenge if you think it's a challenge. It's conquerable if you think it's conquerable, type of thing. But it's amazing how, especially as children, we see through that. We see through illusions so quickly. And sometimes it's like we have to unlearn and come back to that. But it's interesting because somebody recently asked me about fear as well, and they were saying they were reading my book and they were coming to terms with the fact that they were in their 40s and a grown Black man, but had never, like, had lived a life dominated by fear the whole time, like to this day, and that they were just coming to terms with that. And so they were asking me, yeah, like, did you just not have it? And I thought about it because I was like, from a young age, I did have a very good grasp of what it means to be not fearless, but to be courageous through the fear, face the fear and do it anyway. But I remember seeing a picture of my mother and me sitting on some kind of park bench or something, very, very small. We just came to this country, and I looked scared in the picture. To me, I could just tell. I just looked so overwhelmed, and it was very early 90s New York City too, so that's a different New York. So much stimuli, so much going on. And you know, all I know is my mother and my father were completely away from everything. We're the only ones in the country. And I think once also I realized that my mother and father were going to be preoccupied, to say the least, with navigating life in America and this new reality, and also the professional world, the corporate world, academia, you know, being in places and spaces where they're the only woman, Black man, Black, whatever, all the different culture clashes. I was like, wow, it seems like we're all kind of gonna be figuring this out, but not as a union. We're gonna be doing this all separately. And I realized I wasn't gonna have like my mother and my father the way, I don't wanna say normal children do, but the way I would like it to be, the way I hope it is for most people. I realized I was gonna be on my own for a good part of my journey. And I guess it was in that moment, very unconsciously, I was just like, well, we're gonna have to be facing fears, because who else is here? There's nobody here. I didn't get to know my grandparents. Both of my grandfathers were killed before I was born. No other siblings, I'm the only child. We're making friends, but like, again, it's a whole new reality. So again, you also have to push through a fear, because you're gonna have to negotiate some type of trust with the people you meet, you know, as a professional too. Like at some point you do have to give trust of your projects and things to other people, because it has to scale, it has to go, it has to move. So yeah, these experiences, absolutely, like I've been so versed in facing fear for so long. It helps me achieve things faster in a lot of ways, but then also it helps my art to be more dimensional and to get to the depth and the human core of certain things, because I know that when I face an audience, that too, having to face different audiences so many times, being in the performance group I was in, every time we go out, we're facing a different type of audience. It's a different type of show. I have to figure out how to connect with this audience very fast, and I have to be authentic about it, because they have to be moved in this 5, 10, 15 minute, 20-minute set. They have to be excited or inspired or encouraged about something. And sometimes you face an audience who has no intention of clapping for you. They may not even respect you. They may have been having a horrible day and just have decided they don't want to be inspired by anything. They just want to get this over with. So that makes me approach the art and the creativity with, I have to get to the humanness of what we're doing here. I have to figure out breaking the fourth wall of what we're doing here, but then I also have to be responsible for moving all of us with whatever the creative medium is. And so that's why I feel like a lot of my art is not one-dimensional, if I could say. Like even if it's just me rapping a cappella, I can't just come to you rapping a cappella because I know that's not gonna cut it. That may not even move me. So I gotta make sure that rapping has some kind of rhythm to it, has some type of poetry to it. I gotta make sure the poetry is painting some kind of image. And I gotta make sure the images and words that I'm painting haven't been said already, or I gotta spin them a different way, or I gotta put them with like, where I'm from, where we are, where you are, what inspires me about you, you know, things like that.
I like that. And I want to ask you another question,
Sure.
you know, to feed off of that. A lot of creatives, they pull their best work, pardon me, from struggle. Do you believe that's true for everybody, for all creatives, or for the creative process? Does your struggle give you the best fuel for what the message you want to put out there?
Man, I wish it didn't. I wish it didn't. I think some of us have had enough struggle. I think we're good. I think we got enough now. You know, I don't think it's the best. I don't think that's the best art for everybody. I actually think a great deal of like pressure comes from diamonds, yes. But then I think some people rely too much on pain. They get a high off the, because pain and darkness is very powerful, just like light. And it can be very easy to use dark and lower energy to get a message or a feeling or emotion across, because that's one of the biggest things we all have in common. However, I was just listening to like a love song when I was on my way over here, a couple different songs, but like very boppy and bright and upbeat, and I was getting into like the background vocals that were laid down and what the bass was doing in different places, and these were not struggle songs at all. Even the love songs were just very celebratory and very like in a rapture, in an ecstasy of this wonder and bliss of what it is to have like a pure loving experience, or like be very driven about what you would like to do with love that you've either discovered or it's found you. And that's a beautiful place. And I feel like there's a lot of people, and sometimes the same artists who do it with pain, who create beautifully out of joy and love and wonder. And I think maybe that's it really, that it's not about is it pain or is it joy, it's about the wonder and imagination of it. Because I think some people also, they get into pain and darkness and they're so one note about it, kind of predictable about it as well, or formulaic, we could say. On both sides, because even most of the pop songs we hear about meeting a boy, meeting a girl, my man this, my man that, oh baby, and it's like, okay. And then you hear a certain song that has a whole difference. It's still talking about the same topic, but the vocabulary is completely different, or the approach is completely different, and it can just blow your mind. So no, I don't believe struggle is a prerequisite. It's definitely in the artist starter pack for sure, one way or another, but I don't think it's a prerequisite for great art as far as quality and substance and impact of the art, no.
Okay. Now, I've been watching your content that you create, your video content. You've been doing it for years.
Thank you.
You have your own unique style of doing it. And I also admire your diversity. And you pay homage to a lot of different artists in your music. And one artist in particular, I know your book, y'all not gonna make me lose my mind.
Y'all not gonna make me lose my mind.
You pay homage to DMX. Tell me about that.
Oh man. DMX is the embodiment of a multi-dimensional use of pain, struggle, and dark experiences channeled into power and light and brightness. and all done with a unique tongue, a unique vocal, a unique approach, and an almost definitely unapologetic presence of here I am, and it's great enough. It's not just good enough, it's great enough. I appreciate him so much, his example as a man, as a person, as a spirit, and to know that he, to use that word again, struggled for many years, at least a decade before we ever heard of him, just trying to quote unquote make it as an artist, and almost quit and like threw it away, and had achieved a success and was there and like had a deal and like, you know, was there doing it, had something out, and then that kind of tanked and didn't work out. And he could have just gone away, and we wouldn't have any of the DMX we have. Imagine that. So on one hand, like, was that the greatest failure of, you know, of his life, you know, type of thing. But he decided that he had more in him, and we were going to hear it. And that in itself is endearingly inspiring for me, because when you know you have something in you, you don't even have to know exactly what it is, but when you know you have something in you and you're here to do something with it, it's like it doesn't matter what the 3D world, if you will, is giving you, trying to tell you, trying to convince you. It doesn't matter what the failures are. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. It doesn't matter who's following, who's not. You know, it does not matter. It's about this gift that I've been given and the choice that I've made, that I'm going to operate in it, and almost like having no choice. Like, it's so powerful. It's bigger than you, and that is DMX. It feels like I wasn't even talking about a rapper, right? It feels like, but that to me is DMX, because he, in a time where there was plenty of talented people around, you know what I'm saying? But decided that he had an affinity for a certain way of presenting stories and information, knew he had a unique voice, knew he had a unique energy, and really ran with it, but was also one of the first people to, that's fair to say, one of the first most popular people to really openly talk about mental health and internal struggle, internal conflict, all the lower emotions, fear, guilt, shame. He was one of the first to really talk about that out in public, out loud, and really like talk in the mirror to himself with us. So he was kind of giving us musical therapy for a lot of years. And that was new, because in his time, hip hop was largely aspirational rap, if you will. We're popping champagne, we're in the club, we want to make money, we want to have our slice of the capital American dream. And here he is talking about, I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up. You know what I'm saying? Like, Dax, you didn't get the memo? We supposed to be popping champagne. What you mean you slipping? But then it's like, nah, we kind of are slipping, and we need to talk about it. And thank you, you know? So I feel like he's another one who I wish was still here and was outspoken about the authenticity and the spirit. He may not in those words, but the spirituality that needs to stay inherent in the culture. And so to me, that's like, people need to know that name, that mind, that idea, those concepts, making those qualities beloved, like that needs to continue. Our kids need to understand these things. It needs to be important. So I want to make sure I carry that through.
I was about to say that this is where Emily MC comes in.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me about your new album, your new baby.
My new baby, can I hold it?
Yes.
My new baby. Okay, so my new baby is now called Chocolate Bars. And it is a collaboration between me and the producer Rockwell, who is from Germany, and he's based in Germany. The project was released by Illdrenalinerecords which is based in Germany and New Jersey. So one half is Benny, shout out to Benny, and the other half is Beneficence out from Jersey. They have such an extensive and significant experience in hip hop and especially the underground scene. So we're in good hands as far as authentic art and people who covet in quality that. And it features two people who are big inspirations to me, Master Ace on the single Like It's 93 and Bahamadia on the single Cravings and Withdrawals. So yeah, it's a concept piece. Thank you. This cover was shot by a great sister of mine, Monifa Perry. She is, again, another one who is deep roots in hip hop. There's so many people you'll never see. I hope you hear of them at least, but they're so deep behind the scenes. But they have been in rooms and around all the people you love, and she's one of those. She's shot so many great shots of Mos Def, even now of Griselda, Mos Def Yasin Bey, Smith and Wesson. Like she's just awesome. So she has actually been the only person to photograph me. Like all my press photos and everything have been her. When she was a student at FIT, she would like pull me in and we'd just go in and take shots and then go out to the park and shoot this. We shot this on a random day. So we didn't even know this was gonna be years later, my album cover, so I'm so happy for her. But I told her, like, look, everybody's gonna know your name because they're gonna see it with me, you know? So I just wanna keep that same spirit of like communal uplift, and especially for women and Black and brown women who work so hard and often have to go through so much for so little. Anything I can do to help us continue to be uplifted, I will. So shout out to her. But yeah, this is awesome. This is my first official project out as a solo artist, so I'm very excited.
Beautiful, congratulations.
Thank you.
So between your new album and your book, what is the message that you want your audience to know?
The message.
The message.
The one.
That one message.
There's more. There's more. I was like, how would I? But it just came to me. Yeah, I want to say that there's more. There's more to you. There's more to life. There's more to love. There's more than your job. There's more than the negativity that may surround you. There's more to come for the good in your life. There's more to relationships. There's more to your connections. I want to tell people that there's more about you to discover. There's more power in you. There's more love for you to give yourself. There's more health. Some people are stuck in sickness. Some people are stuck in sickness, and there's more health. So we don't have to take what anyone is saying life is or is supposed to be, what business, what success, you know, is supposed to look like, feel like, sound like. It's what you want it to be. And as long as you're treating people well and accordingly, I say accordingly as well. Treat people accordingly. Be kind, but be discerning. Treat people accordingly. And continue to grow your relationship with yourself, because from that, all things will flourish. But yeah, there's more power within us than any power over us. There's more.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Can you tell me about the moment where you performed at the Academy Award?
Ooh, what a moment.
Yes.
That was, wow, that was so amazing. You know what was really amazing? Not to cheapen it at all, but what was awesome was that we were paid what they call per diem, which was my first time receiving that type of payment, where you're paid technically per day, they give you a certain amount because it's supposed to cover your food and your expenses and things to navigate per day. But it was amazing because, one, I had never gotten a check that big in my life, and I was a teenager. I was like 16. So it wasn't crazy. It was like $600, but I had never seen $600 in one place before. So that was like, what? But the thing was, I had this big check in my hand with my name on it for being creative. I was being paid to rehearse. I was being paid to sing. I was being paid to work out. I was being paid to mill about until the engineers was ready. I was being paid to perform. That was amazing. It felt so good. And that was like a taste of what it could be like to be a full-time artist. Not about the dollar amount, but the fact that you don't have to, the money is an energy. It's just an energetic frequency, but that you are supported in exactly what you love to do, that is amazing. So that experience was like God saying, yes, it's very possible at scale with the top of the tops. And then let me show you what that looks like on this level. Because also sometimes the top of the tops aren't the best of things. It's just they have more money. But that may be all they have. You might have which I did, you might have an even more memorable, exciting, life-changing show at some hole in the wall in some town, whatever. And for me, I had that parallel experience of like my two favorite shows so far are the Academy Awards show and when I performed in a prison upstate, like a maximum security prison. That audience was unlike any audience I've ever, the connection and with every piece, it was insanely amazing. The Academy Awards audience could not compare to the Greenhaven Correctional Facility audience. So again, they have more money, sure, but there was more life. There was more heart. There was more energy there. But at the Academy Awards, I got to see the inside. We got to visit Capitol Records, and I got to see like state-of-the-art studios. And we got to work with, what is his name? Not Bill Ponte. I'm gonna get the name again. I'm gonna kick myself for forgetting, but he was the composer for the Rocky movies and like just crazy accolades. But he was in charge of doing the remix of our nominated song. We were nominated for Best Original Song for a movie called August Rush, a Warner Brothers film. So he was in charge of taking our song and like remixing it for our live performance, because all of the songs get redone for TV. So we got in there, we sang a little bit and we're recording a little bit, and then I see him go into the booth with our founders and like the musical director of our group, and they're in there, I promise you, like 15 minutes. Couldn't have been 15 minutes. And they tell them like what our song is about, give them the basic chords, and this man remixes it like in front of them, like in front of us, in 15 minutes. And it had like strings and like, it was ridiculous. And I was like, wow. So it was like not just exposed to state-of-the-art studios and equipment and stage like props and manufacturing and all the union workers who do the lighting and the carpentry and everything, but also exposed to like state-of-the-art talent, like world-class talent on both sides of the camera who have already been at that level and like do this. Like that's what they do, and they can do it like that. And there's a reason why some people are at certain levels, and it's like, yeah, wow, because he knocked that out in no time. So that experience was amazing. Coming out to the rehearsal stage, and they have like cardboard cutouts of where all the celebrities are gonna sit. So you're seeing like who could be there, or just placing names, and you're like, oh snap. And I remember they had the Denzel Washington seat, and it was, oh my God, Denzel. And the lady was like, oh yeah, Denzel. And she grabbed the paper. She was like, oh, but he's not coming this year. And we were like, what? Why? Oh my God, why? And he's like, yeah, they were like, yeah, he kind of like boycotts, like low key, he kind of boycotts like Hollywood stuff every once in a while. You know, he just does it every couple of years. He just does it. And I was like, interesting. And yeah, they were like, hey, you won't even see him at the pre-party. I was like, wow, I kind of really respect that. I'm not gonna hold you. So I wasn't even mad that I didn't meet Denzel. I was like, okay. They put lights in the floors, like really hot lights, so that the celebrities look like godly and illuminated. So that was a thing I didn't know until I was there. I was like, oh my God, that's why they look like the way they look. They have them lit, like they have them lit, you know, and then the stage lights are crazy. It's like, it was amazing, but yeah, it was a taste.
Like a movie, a taste of.
Ooh, it was a taste, yeah.
Are you looking forward to what's next with your music?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely excited, enthused. I'm grateful to be alive, man. I've been doing a lot more work in mental health and with suicide prevention, and especially I just did my first presentation with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. They have a program called Let's Save Lives, and it's specifically geared to Black and Brown communities, so, suicide prevention for Black and Brown communities, because we are different. Every community is different, but especially with that topic, it's very taboo, still very sensitive. We have a lot of cultural elements, religion, immigrants, all that prevents talking about that in certain ways. So they geared this program. And ever since I did that presentation, I've been even more sensitive and intuitive and just open to emotional intelligence and reflecting on the fact that I really was not going to be here a couple of years ago. I was out, I was ready to go, and God put me back and said, "Nah, you're not done. I still have work for you to do, and there's still people, places, and things you got to connect with." And it's like, wow, I almost wasn't here for all of this. So I make sure that when I speak to people, I'm kind and I'm according, and I am cognizant to the fact that this may be the last conversation I have with that person. Am I okay with what I said? Am I okay with how I behaved? This might be the last text I have with somebody. Am I okay with, you know, how I left it? You know, things like that. So many people also are dying left and right, seemingly unnaturally, a lot more lately, and it's a bit scary. So I know a lot of us have a lot more angels and ancestors than, you know, we planned for. But so due to that, I'm like, extra grateful for my health, for my wellness, for the fact that I have some type of spiritual center about things in terms of higher consciousness, and like we were talking about, the power within me, the power of connection, of being in person with people who are dope and creative and have their own light, not needing it to be about me all the time, even in my art. Sometimes it's centered on other experiences and it needs to be. So I'm so excited because, yeah, what a year, first book, first album, first live show, you know, first films, first, you know.
A lot of firsts.
I'm just open to what there is.
I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
And we're gonna close out.
Okay.
But I wanna close out with, you are very resilient, and the more that I looked into your story and listened to your music and your lyrics, I felt like you were meant to be here, be creative, and add to the world that we have today. And thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And could you tell our viewers, where can they find you? Where can they listen to your music? Because I want them to dig into your book. I want them to dig into your music. I want them to know more about Emily MC.
All right, I will say the book is available at major bookstores, online, wherever you usually go get your books. It's likely there. You can also get it straight from the publisher, Wahida Clark's Publishing. That is a Black woman-owned publishing company, still independent. So that's a great thing I want to highlight. It's also available in several Black-owned bookstores across the U.S. And it is now in several libraries across the U.S. and in Canada, Jamaica, and I think we just hit the UK. So not that I'm telling you ain't got to pay for it, but I'm saying I'm a woman of the people. I understand how it is. And maybe you're just curious. You know, maybe you just want to tap into the digital before you get the physical. Sure. I'm saying you can do that with the library. And we also want to help the libraries stay open because they're special places. So it's at libraries as well. The website is emiliaottoo.com. That is my government name. That's the name you write on the checks. That's also my birth name, Emilia, Emilia, Ottoo, Ottoo. All my social media is Emilia is Emily, because we are the same person. She is her, I am she. And Emily MC, M.C. You can actually just type that in now. Before I used to say, make sure you put M.C. because you might get the country singer Emily, the punk rock band Emily. It was a couple of us out there. But you know what now? Now, I'm trending, y'all. The algorithm pushed me up. Now you type in Emily MC, you're seeing melanin. You're seeing gold and bamboo earrings. You're seeing hip hop. So that's a great thing. But yes, thank you. And the album is available on digital streaming platforms everywhere. And the vinyl is, the CD and the vinyl is on Fat Beats, HHV and Juno if you're in the UK and Europe, especially in Germany. And straight from the record label, Illdrenalinerecords, where they also have splatter print vinyls and brown color vinyls, all types of things. So yes, we out here.
Thank you so much for coming out,
Thank
Emily,
you.
and it was a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise.
I think we could have sat and talked all day.
Yes.
And I'm just very, very proud of you. Just coming from a sisterly place and coming from a creative place.
Thank you.
Because it's not easy. It is not easy for a Black woman to do what you do.
Thank you. Likewise.
And still stay, positive about it. Because it definitely is. It's a challenge. So I love to see you in your element. And I just want to tell you to continued success.
Thank you.
And we are going to see you sitting in the front row.
Hey,
Okay?
Sitting next to Denzel's name thing because he won't be there.
Exactly.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that is it. Thank you for joining us. Please do tune in, like, and subscribe. This was Lysandra, aka Khandie Woo, and Emily MC.
Khandie Woo!
Until next time.
Peace.